Oh, hello. Welcome once again to Speakeasy with Paul F Tompkins. I am still Paul F Tompkins, and my guest today, dear old pal. Oh, what a pleasure it is to see you. He is the host of Comedy Bang Bang! Exclamation points in the title on IFC, the independent film channel. Please say hello. Please say hello to Scott Aukerman. Scott, hello. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, you pronounce it cheers?
I pronounce it cheers.
Oh, interesting.
Refreshing.
I like that TV show, Chairs.
No, it's Cheers, I think.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that it's Cheers.
No, they were all sitting in chairs.
I know that they had chairs.
Norm especially had, well,
Norm!
Norm! He had a stool type of chair, which is how it got its title.
It's called a stool.
They were going to call it stools, but then they thought that sounded too much like poops.
Wasn't it better? Scott, let's cut the shit.
Okay.
You were born, I always forget
Commence
this
shit cutting.
There's a ribbon. First cut the ribbon on the shit cutting.
Uh-huh. This
Right?
is a lot like the job of an anus.
We're less than 60 seconds into this.
Gone in 60 seconds.
That's
That's my
right.
motto.
I always forget that you were born in Georgia.
Yes, I was.
You were born in Savannah, Georgia. Do you
Yes.
consider yourself a Georgia peach?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Do you introduce yourself to people?
Hi, I'm a Georgia peach, is what I initially say, and then they guess my name. It usually takes them under 500 tries.
Is that the protocol with someone who's a Georgia peach?
Someone who's a
You
Georgia
have to
peach.
guess their name?
Exactly. It's an old tradition that dates back to the first settlers.
How about the first peaches?
The first peaches, a lot of people don't know, but the first settlers actually created a peach. They invented it. It's one of those fruits that's a cross between two other fruits.
What fruits is it?
It's a tomato, which is a fruit a lot of people don't know, and an orange. And if you put those two together, it's a peach. It's surprisingly delicious. Have you ever tried a peach?
I have never tried a peach, but I have accidentally mixed up tomatoes and oranges in the same bowl.
You can't just slice them up and then mash them together.
That's what I had been doing.
You have been doing that?
Well,
That's a common mistake.
I keep all my produce just kind of loose on the counter. And so every morning when I break my fast, I grab like fruits, just sort of distractedly chop them up.
Shaka, 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 shaka,
That's
shaka.
right. I'm
What
saying
do you
shaka,
look-
shaka, shaka.
Yes, of course.
Then I knead them in a bowl.
What are you looking at while you do this? You're not looking at the fruits, I imagine.
I see visions of sprites,
Sugar
fairies. Never sugar plums. Isn't
Really?
that funny?
That's kind of funny because a lot of people have visions of sugar plums dancing through their heads.
Yeah.
But not you. Okay.
Saint John the Divine had that, and that's how he wrote the Book of Revelation.
Of course, yes.
Listen,
I'm listening.
you.
By the way, you don't give me orders, all right? I'm your guest. You say, will you please listen?
But if I'm the host, my house, my rules.
That is a good point.
There we go. As long as you're under my roof.
Okay.
You started out as a musical theater performer. You
I mean, I started out as a baby.
I
You're
don't
cutting
wanna go
out
back that
a
far.
lot of stuff.
I don't want to go back that
You're
far.
cutting out birth to about 16 years old.
No, but that's in the previously on.
Oh, okay. Previously on Speakeasy.
Scott started out as a baby.
Then as an infant.
That's right.
Then as a kindergartner. And
That's
then
right.
so on and so on.
We've been keeping people apprised of your progress
Every episode?
every episode.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to
You
musical theater.
You studied theater
Yes.
at the Pacific, what was it called?
Conservatory of the Performing Arts.
But this is where you toiled to learn the craft of acting.
Stagecraft is what we call it. Acting sometimes gets in there, but there's not a lot of acting in musical theater.
Well, there's the bare minimum of acting. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, there's like just 10% of musical theater is acting. The rest of it is just like dancing
So
around.
were you were specifically studying that type of performance?
Not specifically. It was
Was it everything?
It was everything. It was Shakespeare. It was modern. It was all sorts of stuff. It was dance. It was a lot of stuff.
Stage combat.
I'm great at it. If you'd like to try to come at me.
Well, no, that will not be necessary.
Okay, all
Well, I
right.
don't think we have the space here.
No, but you do learn that you want to get as close as possible. Basically, you want the person to feel like a little rush of wind. Get as close as possible without touching
You actually
them.
touched me.
No, I
So,
did not. So see,
I
what
felt
you
it.
felt is air.
Is that what
Like,
you say
tell
every
me if-
time
yeah, tell
after
me-
you knock someone down?
Tell me if you feel this.
Yes, I felt that.
No. I was as close as
think-
possible.
Let the record show.
Nope.
We have so many angles on that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Try to catch me.
Oh.
I've never been caught before.
One of our cameramen is Abraham Zapruder.
I've been wondering what he's been up to.
Yes, well, he's still a shutterbug.
People were sleeping on him for a number of years. He's finally back.
Take that, Roger Deakins. Were you always into comedy?
When I was 18, I tried to do stand-up in a competition at my college. And
The best place to start.
yes, I got third. People said I should
Very
have
nice.
won.
Right.
But at the time, stand-up was very Jerry Seinfeld observational, and that's
Yeah.
what I thought it was. So I tried writing in that style, and it's just not really my style of the, hey, this is weird. Did you ever, So I tried it once, didn't really have a love for it, and just, always loved comedy and wished I could do it. I really wanted to be like a David Letterman type talk show host, but I never really saw how the career track to that would ever be without doing stand-up.
Right. So you didn't really do, in earnest, any comedy performance until you moved to Los Angeles, and you were part of a comedy duo at first,
The Fun Bunch.
Fun Bunch with BJ Porter, and that led to you getting hired on Mr. Show, right?
Yes, we did bizarre sketches. I saw Bob and David in a performance, and around the same time that I saw Andy Kaufman, this Andy Kaufman special on NBC, and the two things in the same week kind of made me go, oh, you can do comedy in a different way than Jerry Seinfeld did. So we started doing these performances at the Comedy Store, where a mutual friend of some comedians and I had hooked me up with. And they were just very strange sketches, mainly. And Bob was in the audience at a lot of them. And the second time we did one, he was really impressed with the writing of it, I guess, and said, hey buddy, you should work on my show. But that was, and having been very influenced by him in these things that we were doing, that was, great to hear. I loved Mr. Show, but then it took 3 years to
So you got hired in the fourth
season. Yeah, we were on it occasionally, and then in the third season they were talking about bringing us on, but it didn't work out until the fourth season. So
Right.
it took 3 years from him saying, come work on my show, to actually doing it. But
Right. So the transition to the TV show on IFC.
we had a great transition team in place, and it was seamless.
The outgoing show was
Yep.
very cooperative.
Yes, whatever that was. What would that have been? The Whitest Kids You Know, or
Life
just
and
one of the,
Times of Jackie Onassis.
one
What
of
was
those
that show? Laura Keitlinger's show?
Oh, was that on IFC?
Yeah, I think so. Or was that
I just like to
Sundance?
think that I'm replacing some of the shitty movies they play. Like that one about the vagina with teeth.
I think you're sort of garnishing them. Because I think they still play them, right?
They still play them, but for half an hour a week, it's all me, baby.
How difficult was the process of figuring out what the visual representation of this idea was going to be?
It was very interesting. It took place over a series of months. When they first, the network that is, approached me about doing the show, I didn't have to pitch it to them or anything. They just said, we want you to make an interview show. I didn't know what it was. They didn't know what it was. And so basically I tried to take elements from the podcast and honor that, but I also just wanted it to be sort of the late night talk show that I had wanted to do ever since I was a kid. We just kind of kept trying to find it. We sometimes knew what it wasn't gonna be, and we would make decisions based on that. For instance, the set, we knew we didn't want to have a desk for some reason. So we looked at a lot of stuff. We looked at Dick Cavett especially, and we sort of noticed that everyone was sitting on couches, and it had a little more of an informal feel. We knew I didn't want to wear a suit. Right up till shooting, they were bringing in choices for me, and I just sort of happened upon a V-neck sweater, kind of Oxford combination, which became kind of the look of the show.
Can I tell you something?
Yes,
I don't give a fuck about an Oxford combination.
Vampire Weekend.
Who?
Oh, you've never heard of vampire? This is awkward.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh boy, they've already gotten to this subject matter.
So eventually settled on
Yeah,
pretty much what you're wearing now.
Yeah, what I'm wearing now.
The classic Scott Aukerman.
Classic
look.
Aukerman. And this is not really how I dress in real life necessarily, although I'm here right now and it's real life. But
you're here in a professional capacity.
That's true.
Yes.
I sort of put on the costume for you. But
I wouldn't know anything about that.
What do you look like at home? Are you just wearing like a Led Zeppelin t-shirt? And Bermuda shorts? We knew that we couldn't afford a band necessarily, but we didn't really know. Every talk show has music, and then Dan Pasternak at IFC suggested Reggie because he had done the theme song for the podcast. And so there were a lot of serendipitous things that we had arrived at through hard work. And so when we shot the pilot, we threw a lot of elements into it, thinking we were going to cut some out. And we overshot it, we thought. And then when we watched it all put together, I really liked how many ideas were in it. And we got it down to 22 minutes with all of those elements in it. And I was kind of like, yeah, this is it to me. It feels it's very fast moving to me. And so that's kind of the template that we arrived at, and sort of by accident, but also not by accident in a way of like I was doing a lot of what I was trying to fix about other pilots I'd made in the past. So, we arrived at a really good thing, which ended up being, one of the episodes we aired. We aired the pilot. So, right. And we weren't going to air the pilot. We were just kind of making a test tape.
And that's not an uncommon thing. A lot of times pilots don't air.
Yes,
Yeah.
You figure out what you did wrong on the pilot, and then you remake it with a better set or better elements. And we just were like, wow, this is it. We really like it.
There was a point there in your career where you sort of gave up on the idea of performing, right? You said you went into writing, and so for something like this to happen,
it's crazy.
When did you kind of realize that your dream your childhood dream had come true?
I think I didn't realize it until the first season started to air a little more. I was very nervous about it. But like you said, I got into Mr. Show, and Bob and David sat me down and said, hey, don't try to perform. Not in life, but just on the show. They said, don't try to perform, don't write for yourself.
Right.
You're writing for us, which made me very kind of nervous about ever asserting myself as a performer. And then the writing gigs kind of poured in from the heat of Mr. Show, and so I just kind of slipped out of it. And I just was like, oh, well, I'll just be a writer from now on. When we first started shooting the show, I was kind of nervous about how I was going to do because I was a little rusty as a performer, even though I've been doing the podcast for a while. And I think once it started airing and people started liking it, I was kind of like, oh, we have this thing. And now I look around and it's my own show, and we're in the 3rd season now, and it's kind of like a real thing now instead of a pilot that I made that failed or a first season that got canceled right after. It's like it's an actual real show now, and it's the show that I've always wanted to do. So it's really gratifying, I guess, to answer your question.
Scott, thank you for answering my questions.
I didn't have a choice.
You had a choice. You didn't even realize.
I could have not answered all of these?
The choice was within you the whole time.
What an interesting episode it would have been if I just sat there shaking my head and not answering.
You think that would have been interesting?
I think so. I think it would have been unique.
Well, I guess we have different views on different things. Scott Aukerman, thank you very much for being my guest.
Thank you, Paul.
The 3rd season of Comedy Bang Bang will be airing this spring. Set your DVRs to record. Is that a play on phasers?
DVR, divers, phasers.
No, put your phasers on stun.
I've never heard that before.
That's it for this edition of Speakeasy. Join me again next time when my guest will be a different person.
I'm coming back.
Thank God. No.
No?
I forbid it.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check back every Monday to see who I interview next. And for more info about Speakeasy, visit mademan.com.